the United Way of South Central Michigan, Senior Director of Community Impact, Bethany Stutzman, and the retiring COO, Ken Toll. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So some of that was news right then, right there, because that's a new job for you, Bethany.
Yes, it is a new role for me. So I'll still be continuing to do all the community work that I've been doing for the last, 17, 18 years that I've been at United Way. Still working with JobStar, which is our business resource network, and the Program Assistance Center, which is the utility assistance. I've been on here quite a few times talking about the Program Assistance Center, as well as working with all of our funded partners in the community and all those sorts of things. And in addition to those things, I will now be the senior point person. I'm not sure I like using that word senior, but senior point person for our staff in Jackson, as well as externally out in the community. So kind of our lead point of contact for all of our Jackson work.
Awesome. So like the station manager.
Yes,
Yeah.
the station manager.
Yeah. And Ken, you shepherded the United Way from United Way of Jackson County to be part of the United Way of South Central Michigan as COO. And about a week or so ago, you made an announcement that you're retiring.
Yeah, I guess you could call it a retirement, resignation, retirement, moving on, whatever you want to call it. I wish I had enough money to actually retire, but have a new job. But yeah, I figured, it was difficult to go through the transition to Make You See Me, but we did it much more quickly than I expected and got a lot of things in place. So I had the opportunity to step back and say, you know, what do I want to do? Do I want to finish my career here or try something new? And decided it was time maybe to try something new, that the organization was in good hands.
Yeah, so Ken bristles at the word retirement because you're not old enough to actually retire.
I'm only 35, guy. Give me a little credit. What do you think?
But you've already got your next chapter. What's next?
I do. I was surprised. The second to last day of employment with United Way, I interviewed with the AFL-CIO, and on my last day, as I was getting ready to fly overseas for a quick vacation, they offered me a job. So I'm now the statewide training director for the Workforce Development Institute. The mission statement was really compelling. It's all about forging economic and environmental justice and righting inequities in that system by training people for better jobs of today and tomorrow.
Well, it kind of fits in with the job you've been doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How long were you with United Way?
Well, altogether, how many years did we figure out?
It was over 2 decades.
Yeah. I started in Bethany's role as community impact a long time ago, and then I became CEO in '04. So
yeah, and I think that's about the time I was coming on the board as you were taking on that.
Right.
Yeah. So
and somehow I lasted through your board tenure. I don't know. You were tough, but
well, we had a few executive sessions, but now one of the things, you had some big challenges because you had to find a new home, and you created a United Way campus.
Correct. Yep.
That was a big undertaking.
Yeah, kind of. I remember in the interview with you and the other board members, you all said, well, what do you think about real estate development? And I said, I know nothing about that. And you said, well, we sold your office, so you better figure it out pretty quickly. And, and we built the United Way campus, still own 3 buildings there. I think we know that the building is appreciated considerably, and it's still in great shape. So whether we continue running as a United Way or downsize, I think is a point of conversation given COVID and all the changes in office trends and needs. But yeah, the campus has been a big success. We built the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative. We built 2-on-1, which turned into Central Michigan 2-on-1. A lot of things happened in Jackson that really paved the way for United Ways around the state and even around the country. Our PAC work that Bethany's led forever, really revolutionary stuff. Really proud of all we've done.
Awesome. So good news, Ken will still remain in the community, and you'll still be impacting the community.
Yeah, as much as I can.
And you've got almost as many years at United Way too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was a couple years, so Ken's the one that hired me, so it certainly is a big transition for all of us, and we will certainly miss Ken, but he's promised us he won't change his cell phone number. He's still around. We love the fact that he's still going to be in Jackson. So wishing him, great luck with his new job, and nice to know he's only a phone call away.
So I know you were a fan of Bethany taking this role.
Yeah, the community is darn lucky to have Bethany. She knows more about the granular needs of the community than anybody else I've ever met, and wears her heart, to the fullest. She really is in it for the right reason. So Jackson's in good shape. Another reason it was easy for me to resign and slide into a new role. It's in great hands.
So we want, and this I think we talked about when the merger took place, we want to make sure Jackson doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So what are your plans to make sure that, Jackson and the United Way, the impact continues for the community?
Yeah, so we've talked about since the merger that all local dollars raised will continue to be invested locally. So that will continue to happen. We have our local staff, our local community impact staff, so myself and Bethany and our program assistance center team that will continue to be out in community advocating and working with all sorts of partners like we have been. So really there won't be any change or transition as it relates to all of those things. Continuing to advocate for the ALICE population, that asset limited, income constrained, employed population that we talk about. All of those things will continue to be priorities as we move forward.
Yeah, so JobStar, various other, impacting the ALICE population, that really, it does dovetail with workforce development.
Absolutely. I mean, we know we've got some structural problems in this whole country around what people are paid and how we value labor and what we expect. And there needs to be some changes. And so I'm glad to continue the work on this end. But it is all the same thing, right? People who should be able to work hard and earn enough to feed their children. Yeah. And you can't do that on $7 an hour. Just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. So while we know now that all the dollars raised locally stay local, it's still time to give. It's still underway.
Yes. So for sure, it's never too late, and people can still give, volunteer, advocate. If you go to our website, there's a local web page specifically for donating towards Jackson. And so that we always welcome that, and really are continuing. We're kind of in the middle of like the core session of our campaign right now of raising those dollars in the community.
Yeah, and the campaign, because with COVID, as you mentioned, we've learned new ways to do things. Yeah. Same with how you raise money.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we can do presentations and communicate virtually. One thing I will say is that we always notice a difference in impact and us being able to communicate the work that we do when we're able to be in person. So we absolutely love the opportunity to come on site and talk about the work that we do, all the fantastic work that our partners do in the community. And there are other options, like you said. We learned lots of different ways to creatively do things in the midst of COVID, and there's lots of options available to partner with organizations.
Well, I think this makes your entire career in the nonprofit world. I remember for a few years you were heading up the Jackson College Foundation.
Yep.
I think you were United Way, then went to JC, and then back to United Way.
Yeah, I did a couple of communications programs even before that. I've been in nonprofits since I graduated. I started with Greenpeace right after college, knocking on doors, and then fell into nonprofit communications, and I've loved it ever since. So it's been a great career. Yeah.
Wow. Did you know George Costanza when he was working at Greenpeace?
I did not know George Costanza, no. Was he with Vandalay Industries at the time?
Yeah, I think he was. All Vandalay Industries were part of... Well, congratulations to both of you on your new positions.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll see both of you many times in the future.
Absolutely.
From the United Way of South Central Michigan. See, even I have a tough time remembering it, but it's been a year now, hasn't it?
Almost.
Yeah,
almost a year. We're just shy of a year.
Senior Director of Community Impact, Bethany Stutzman, and former COO, Ken Toll.